Meg is a college student, and sometimes she works as a DJ at the local club. Today, she's walking home after work and sees a band of criminals robbing a bank. They notice her and decide to get rid of the witness. They grab Meg and take her to their secret hideout. Meg looks around and finds 3 doors leading to freedom, but there's a danger behind each door. The first passage is filled with toxic gas. There's a hungry wild wolf behind the second door, and a magic song is played behind the third door. It's cursed and makes people go crazy in a second. Which door is safe? Meg can put her headphones on and turn on some loud music to avoid listening to the cursed song. Meg goes to a fancy SPA hotel on a Friday night. She returns home the next morning at 9 a.m. She finds a bunch of flowers and heart-shaped balloons near her apartment door. The secret admirer is unknown, but Meg identifies 3 suspects. She interviews all of them. She asks just one question: "What did you do last night?" Noah, Meg's classmate, replies, "I was at a party with my friends. I came home at about 6 a.m. Meg's ex-boyfriend, Jacob, replies, "I went to the movies with my new girlfriend. Then we went over to her place, and I came home half an hour ago, so I didn't have time to send you flowers, Meg." And Meg's best friend, Mike, says, "I had a fight with my mother in the evening, so I grabbed my laptop and went to the park. I played computer games in the street all night long, and then I fell asleep right on the bench." Who's lying? Mike. He couldn't be playing all night long without recharging his laptop. Meg is walking down the street. She carries an expensive laptop in her bag. Suddenly, a masked thief grabs her bag and runs away. Meg starts chasing him and sees that the criminal enters a hospital. Meg follows him. Oh no, there are hundreds of rooms here. Luckily, it's raining and the criminal leaves footprints on the hospital floor. Meg follows them and gets into a room. There are 3 people here, all covered with bandages from head to toe. Can you help Meg spot the thief? It's the third guy. He doesn't even have a medical chart next to his bed. Mike invites Meg on a date. She goes shopping with her friend Maya to find the perfect outfit for the night. Maya takes a couple of pictures of Meg. Can you spot 3 differences between them? Here they are. After shopping, Meg and Maya decide to visit a beauty salon, but it turns out that one of these hairstylists is an imposter. Can you guess who? It's the guy on the right. He's spraying the client's hair with bug spray. Mike and Meg go on a date, but one of the guests in the restaurant is not a real human being. Can you guess who? This lady. Take a look under her table. She's a mermaid. Meg is having an important test today, and time is up. She puts her final exam paper into a pile with the other students, but the professor tells her, "I saw you cheating on the test. You'll get an automatic fail." Meg replies, "Do you know who I am?" The professor says, "I neither know nor care who you are. You have to be punished for your dishonesty." Meg walks away, speechless. The next day, the professor announces the grades. and Meg discovers that she got an A. How come? The professor indeed didn't know who Meg was. That's why he graded her paper just like everyone else's. Meg and Mike realize they can't live without each other. The next day, they start looking for an apartment. They go to 3 agencies. Each agency shows them one apartment. The guy likes them all, but they heard many bad rumors about realtors. That's why they take a closer look at the documents. Which apartment should they choose? They should pick the third option. The first apartment is on the 5th floor, but that's impossible. The building only has 2 stories. The agent is lying. As for the second apartment, the description claims that it only has 1 bedroom, but the blueprint shows 2. Mike goes to his granny's old country house to take some furniture and a TV for their new apartment. Nobody lived there for a while, so this place is pretty dusty. Mike enters the living room and sees that the TV is broken. He questions 3 neighbors. Andy says, "I didn't do it, but I guess it was Kyle. He's been acting pretty weird recently." Kyle says, "It wasn't me, it was Bill. He broke my fence last week for no reason." And Bill says, "I didn't do it. I'm pretty sure it was Kyle. He's just trying to set me up." Who broke the TV? Let's take a look at the TV screen. It was pierced with a garden fork. Kyle is holding a garden fork in his hands, but it only has 3 prongs, while there are 4 holes in the screen. Meanwhile, Andy's holding a 4-tined pitchfork in his garage. Busted! Meg loves art, so she's visiting an art exhibition to find something special for their interior. The art dealer says that this rare work was painted in the Middle Ages. Meg takes a closer look and says, "You're a liar! This piece is fake!" How did she know? They didn't use light bulbs or electricity in the Middle Ages. What about this painting? Can you spot anything odd? They didn't have smartphones in the Viking era. Let's see if you can spot a mistake in this painting. There are dinos in the background. They went extinct a long time before the Baroque era. Meg and Mike get an invitation to a wedding. This is the groom, Alex. He's an old friend of Meg. And his future wife's name is Nellie. Which of these ladies is Nellie? It's the third lady. She's wearing a name bracelet. Meg and Mike return home from the wedding. Unfortunately, someone robbed their apartment. The police arrive quickly and examine the crime scene. They question 3 neighbors who live on the guy's floor. Tilda says, "I was watching my favorite show in my headphones all day long. I don't know what happened." Steven says, "I was riding a bicycle in the park all day. I returned a couple of hours ago and went to the shower. Your door looked as usual." And Megan says, "I had a party in my apartment. We had dinner and talked loudly, so I didn't notice anything suspicious." Who's lying? Steven. His leg is in a cast, so his story about the bike must be fake. Mike has just returned from a supermarket, but unfortunately, someone changed the 5-number code on the combination lock. So he can't get into the apartment building. Can you help him crack the code? There's a note next to the door. It's a clue. Count the number of elements in each emoji and you'll get the code. 3, 5, 1, 5, and 2. Mike works in a coffee shop. He leaves his phone charging on a table and goes to the toilet. After a while, Mike returns and finds out that his gadget is gone. He decides to question 3 witnesses standing nearby. Ava, the customer, says, "Sorry, I've been talking on the phone with my boyfriend. I didn't look around." Another customer, Rocky, says, "I entered the coffee shop a second ago. I didn't see a phone, man." And Holly says, "Sorry, I was too busy preparing beverages for our clients. I didn't notice anything suspicious." Who's lying? Rocky. He was standing in the line before Mike even left for the toilet, so his story's a lie. Mike and Meg are walking in the park, late at night. Everything seems so romantic, but suddenly, the guys notice something really creepy and run away. What scared them so much? Let's take a look at the trees. The wind is blowing from left to right, but the flowers sway from right to left as well as the clouds. It must be a ghost. Hey, Sherlock. Yes, you. Have you had your morning cup of coffee yet? Then put on your detective hat. It's time to work.
Yeah.
In 2 years, this dog is going to be twice as old as it was 5 years ago. How old is the dog at the moment? The pooch is 12 years old. Look at this picture. How many squares can you find here? There are 11 squares in this picture. Kudos if you found all of them. Mia is 3 times older than Anna. 3 years ago, Anna was a year younger than Amelia is now. Olivia is twice as old as Anna. Put the girls in order of their age. It goes like this: Mia, Olivia, Anna, and Amelia. David got lost in a jungle. After wandering for hours, he came to a place where the path split into 3 smaller trails. The first one led to an active volcano with red-hot lava bubbling in its crater. If David chose the second path, he would get to a clearing swarming with venomous bats. And the third path ended in a swamp, swallowing everything and everybody that got there. Where should he go? David should choose the second path. Most bats are only active at night. Plus, they almost never attack humans. A deaf man came to a store to pick up the flowers he had ordered for his wife. How did he explain to the shop assistant what he needed? He just said so. He was deaf, not mute. Here's a joke to lighten the mood. Don't take it too seriously. Why do elephants have wrinkles? No one is brave enough to iron them. Now, let's check how attentive you are. Your task is to figure out which vampire is the real one. The first vampire has a reflection. The second one doesn't have fangs. Only the third one is the real vampire. How about these mummies? Which one is real? The first one is the real mummy. The second one is just wearing a costume. See that zipper? And the third mummy has blue eyes. Now you need to guess which of them is the ghost bride. Have you noticed that the first one is sweating? The third bride is just wearing a costume, but the second one is the real ghost. She's slightly transparent. Which of these ladies is the real mermaid? The first one is the real mermaid, the second girl has a zipper on the tail, and the third one is hiding a snorkeling mask behind her back. Your next task is to guess which of them is the real Leatherface. The first one has a saw with a label from a toy store. The second one has a can of red spray paint in his apron pocket. But the third one seems to be real. Which of these creatures is the real zombie? The first one is the real thing. The second one has a sandwich in his pocket. See? And the third one might have caught a cold. He has a runny nose. Try to guess who the real Slender Man is. The first one has a very realistic mask on his face, but we can still see a gap between the mask and his body. The third one has lost one of his gloves with long artificial fingers, but the second one is the real Slender Man. Which of these creatures is the real orc? The first one is the real orc, the second one doesn't have fangs, and the third one has a different skin tone on his face and body, so he must be wearing a mask. Physicists have built devices to move it very fast. The last 7 letters of its name can usually be found in newspapers, magazines, and journals. Can you figure out what I'm talking about? A particle. There are 3 playing cards in a row. You've got the following clues. There is a 2 to the right of a king. A diamond can be found to the left of a spade. An ace is to the left of a heart. A heart is to the left of a spade. Now, try to identify all 3 cards. The cards are the ace of diamonds, king of hearts, and 2 of spades. Lewis and his friend Mark were playing basketball. Suddenly, the ball landed in the garden of Lewis's neighbor, a very unfriendly gentleman. An even more unfriendly dog was guarding that garden. Luckily, it was tied to a tree, but the ball fell too close to that tree. If the dog spotted Lewis, it would follow the guy's every step. And if the guy came close enough, he would get bitten. How can Lewis get his ball back without getting hurt in the process? Lewis should walk around the tree, staying out of that dog's reach. The dog will keep following him until the entire length of the animal's leash is wrapped around the tree. Then Lewis should grab his ball and run away. The son of the dentist's father is talking to the father of the dentist's son, and the dentist isn't taking part in the discussion. Can you figure out these family ties? The dentist is a woman, and the people who are talking are her husband and her brother. Ice will melt if you heat it, but if you heat me, I'll become solid. What am I? I'm an egg. You buy this thing to eat, but you never eat it. What is it? It's a plate. James left a folder with important documents on the table in his home office and went to a business meeting. When he returned, he found out that the documents had disappeared. James had 3 suspects. His brother said, "I've been swimming in the pool since you left. I haven't seen or heard anything." The cook replied, "Tomorrow we're having a party, and I've been preparing the food." The security guard told James, "Hey, I've been outside all this time, checking the garden for mice. Who knows where the documents are?" It's the security guard. I bet his job description doesn't include pest control. Maria won the lottery and returned home with a large sum of money, but her sister called her and asked for help, so the girl had to rush out. Before leaving, she put the money under the carpet in her bedroom. When she came back, the money wasn't there. There were 3 people in her apartment while she was away. An electrician came to fix her AC. A neighbor visited to pick up some books, and Maria's housekeeper was cleaning the apartment. Who took the money? It was the housekeeper. She was the only person who had any reason to check under the carpet. You're trapped in a huge deserted mansion, far away from civilization. The windows are either boarded up or too high above the ground. The only tree that grows close enough to touch is too thin to hold you. The entrance door is also securely locked. You see 3 doors. All of them lead to freedom, but behind the first door, there's a raging fire. The second door hides hundreds of venomous scorpions, and behind the third door, there's a dark maze filled with different traps. What should you do? Break off a tree branch and light it in the first room. Now you have a torch. Escape through the maze that isn't dark anymore. You're locked in a room with 3 doors. You can safely walk through any of them, but the doorknobs are the real problem. The first one is under high voltage, and you won't survive touching it. The second is covered with dangerous poison. You can't let it get on your skin. And the third doorknob is so hot that it'll make your hand burn. Which doorknob should you try? The second one. You can take off any piece of clothing and use it to open the door. This way, you won't have to touch the doorknob with your hand. Richard Brooks, a famous jeweler, called the detective's office saying he had just been robbed.
I spent the entire morning showing diamond rings to a few people. A gentleman in a suit, a woman with her son, and a couple. When I looked down to grab the store's most expensive ring, I felt somebody hit me on the head. I fell forward, and when I woke up, everybody was gone,
Brooks told the detective. The detective asked to take a look at the security cameras, and in a few minutes, he figured out who had robbed it. Take a look at the image. Can you tell who did it? If you look closely, you'll see that the woman that was in the store with her son is carrying a teddy bear. But look at that bear's eye. It's bright like a diamond. She must have stolen it. Amy lives in a cozy townhouse with 3 roomies, Jill, Alice, and Nora. Take a look at these 4 bedrooms. Can you tell which one belongs to Amy? Let's go one by one, Sherlock. In the first room, there's a comb with some green hair stuck to it. Nora's the one with green hair, so that must be her room. Then in the room to the right, there's a single red sock under the bed. Take a look at Jill's feet. She's missing that same sock. That must be her room. In the room right under this, there's a yellow jacket hanging on the chair. And Alice is wearing the same colored pants. It looks like the 2 pieces are a suit, huh? This leaves the last room, with a huge letter A poster hanging on the wall. That must be Amy's room. Phew, that took some work. Bobby entered a coffee shop excited to drink his daily cappuccino. But when he went to pay, he realized he had forgotten his wallet. The barista, instead of getting mad at him, suggested another way out. If Bobby could win his game, he would give Bobby the cappuccino for free. Bobby agreed. Okay, I'm going to tell you 3 facts about myself, and you have to figure out which one is false, the barista said. Here are the facts. I have 3 brothers. I hate the color red. I have a PhD in philosophy. Can you help Bobby out? Which fact do you think is false? It's the second one. Look at how many red things the barista owns. His cell phone case, the belt he's wearing, and his hat. Kevin had to travel to Los Angeles on business. He checked into his hotel and went out for the series of meetings he had during the day. After a long day of work, he came back to the hotel exhausted. He ordered some room service and fell asleep binge-watching his favorite TV show. But in the middle of the night, he was woken up and kept turning and tossing around in his bed. That's when he picked up the phone, made a call, didn't say anything, then finally fell back asleep. Who did Kevin call and why? That's easy. He called the room next to his. His neighbor's snoring was through the roof, so it woke Kevin up. When he called his next-door neighbor, it woke him up, and Kevin didn't need to say anything. The neighbor stopped snoring, and Kevin was finally able to sleep. Will and Frank went hiking on their summer vacation. They walked for hours before finding the perfect spot to set camp, in the middle of a deserted island. The next morning, they thought it would be safe enough to leave their things unattended and went for a short walk around the island. When they came back, their stuff was scattered everywhere, and some of their things were missing. Take a look at the picture. Can you tell who stole their things? Nobody. Look at how that palm tree is swinging. A storm is clearly coming and the wind got pretty harsh. So it was probably just the strength of the wind that scattered all their stuff around. And some of it might have gotten into the ocean. Yikes! You wake up and find yourself trapped in a room with 4 doors in front of you. When you hear a monster coming, you're sure you're running out of time, so you check the doors quickly. The leftmost door has a sign on it saying, "Take the door on the right to break free." The second door has a sign saying, "It's the right door." The third door holds the sign, "Freedom is just right in front of you." And the last door has a sign saying, "Don't trust the signs." Which door should you choose? Well, there's a little bit of wordplay here. Let's see why. The first door says to take the door on the right. The second one says, "It's the right door." It doesn't say that it's the correct door, so one could conclude that it's pointing to some of the doors on the right. The third door says, freedom is just right in front of you. But that just doesn't make any sense, does it? You can interpret that as it's pointing to the door just on your right. And that's it. It's the last door. It tells you not to trust the other signs, but it doesn't tell you that they're false, does it? Someone stole a rare diamond from Mrs. Monica Fraser's house. Mrs. Fraser claims she walked into her bedroom and found that the glass box was broken and her diamond was gone. She called Detective Brian, who soon arrived at her place. He gathered 3 suspects. Steve, the gardener, said he was on holiday that week, so he wasn't anywhere near the house when it happened. Sophia, her cousin, said she didn't even know Monica had a diamond hidden in her house. And Adeline, the cleaner, said that when she cleaned the house around 10 p.m. the previous night, everything seemed all right. Take a look at the suspects. Can you tell who stole the diamond? It was Adeline, the cleaning lady. It seems that right after she broke the glass and stole the jewelry, she also wiped off the pieces of glass while cleaning as well. It was a lazy Sunday morning, and John was having breakfast in the kitchen. Suddenly, he heard a loud noise of glass shattering. He walked into the living room and saw that someone had just broken one of his windows. He was mad and decided to go outside to see if he could find the culprit. There were only 3 people in the street. Jake, a young boy, was coming home from football practice. He was holding a ball in his hands, but he swears he didn't do anything. Stephen, John's longtime friend, was carrying a toolbox and said he'd just decided to go over there to fix John's window. Robert, the newspaper guy, was riding his bike and throwing newspapers at people's front lawns. After interviewing them all, John knew who had done it. It was Robert. If you look at the lawn, the newspaper is lying on the grass beneath the window. He threw the newspaper towards the mailbox but missed it and hit John's window. Whoops! It's best John just laughs about this, huh? Becca and Tom are a couple, and they decided to spend their Saturday afternoon enjoying New York's good summer weather. One of them rented a scooter from Brown's Scooters and needed to pay for their ride. The owner of the scooter company came to charge the user the $15 they owed. Both Becca and Tom, who were sitting on a park bench at that moment, were arguing over who should pay for the scooter ride. Becca said that Tom was the one who wrote it, so he should pay for it. But Tom said it was Becca that wrote it, and she should pay for it. Can you tell who's lying? Becca is lying. Take a close look at Becca's footprints. They lead directly to the scooter.
Okay, here we go. One of these guys is a time traveler. Can you guess who? There's a smartphone on the floor. It fell out of this guy's pocket, so he's the time traveler. Miss Charles is a famous chemist. Someone kidnapped her from her own lab. The police study the crime scene and find no evidence, other than a piece of paper with abbreviations for chemical elements and molecules. They question the only people who came to her lab on the day of the kidnapping: fellow scientist Nicholas, her boyfriend Austin, and her sister Alice. The police arrest one of the witnesses right away. How did they know who it was? There's a very obvious clue on the piece of paper. If you combine the abbreviations of the chemical substances, you'll get a name: OSTIN. George fell from a 100-foot ladder, but he didn't get hurt. How is this possible? Well, he was on the first step. Leah is sunbathing at the beach. She takes a little nap. Then she wakes up and finds out that her precious antique bracelet is gone. Leah gets furious. She finds 7 suspects at the beach. One of them is the thief. Can you guess who? Only the fisherman could have stolen it without leaving any footprints on the sand. Shelley and Kelly are sisters. Shelley lives alone, while Kelly lives with her boyfriend. Can you guess who is who? The woman on the left looks like she's making a meal for one person. She's Shelley. Meanwhile, the woman on the right has a big pot full of soup. So, she's Kelly. Take a look at this picture. How many ways can you read the word tiger? Tiger can be read in 60 ways in the given picture. The easiest way to count is to start with the letter T in the center, and then move to the neighboring letter vertically or horizontally. Peter is exploring old caves outside the city. Suddenly, he gets trapped in a mysterious dungeon. There are 3 ways out, but only one of them is safe. Behind the first door, there's a raging fire. Behind the second door, there's acid rain, which could melt any substance within seconds. Behind the third door, there's a huge brown bear that hasn't eaten in 2 years. Which way should Peter choose? He should enter the third door. No animal can go for 2 years without food. An important final exam is taking place in the local college. One of the students is cheating. Can you spot who? It's this guy. He has answers on his arm. Jules is making her way through the forest. She can see the river ahead, but before she reaches it, Jules needs to solve a problem with a pack of wolves. They're slowly surrounding Jules. She comes up with 3 ideas. Press against the tree and quickly climb it. Use matches to make a fire on the ground and scare away the wolves. And the third idea is to splash water in different directions. What's the best course of action? Wolves are afraid of fire, but Jules doesn't have enough time to make it. And water is useless in this case, so Jules should find a tall tree and climb it. Emperor Kyle rules one faraway galaxy. He looks after all the planets in it. One day, someone broke into his palace and stole the blueprint of a new gadget. This gadget should create the first planet with oxygen. Emperor Kyle is sure that the robber is among the kings who rule the largest planets in his galaxy. He immediately calls them for interrogation. King from Planet M says, "I was too busy recently. The locals on my planet are moving to a new apartment district." King from Planet B replies, "There was a fire on my planet. I put the fire out on my own. Thankfully, it's over now." And the ruler of Planet Q says, I've been feeling really sick recently, so I didn't even want to fly to this meeting. Who is lying? It's the king from planet B. As we mentioned, there's no oxygen on any of the planets in this galaxy. This means there can be no fire. Nora arrives at her office early in the morning. Wow! Someone left a fruit basket on the desk. Oh no, did I forget someone's birthday? She works with 3 colleagues, Tyler, Chris, and Amanda. Nora checks their profiles to find out who's having a birthday today. But nobody. All the co-workers arrive later and Nora questions them. Tyler says, "I've nothing to do with this basket. I'm allergic to most fruits." Chris says, "Give me a break. I was partying all night, so I didn't have time to send silly gifts." And Amanda says, "Wow, I think it was Chris. He's totally crushing on you. He confessed to me last week." Who's lying? Tyler. Take a look at the takeaway smoothie that he's holding. It's full of fruits, so he lied about his allergy. Holly's walking down the street. Suddenly, someone snatches a bag from her hands and runs away. Luckily, it happened right in front of the police department. A policeman on the porch notices the crime, and he begins to chase the thief, who runs into the local hospital. It's very crowded here. Can you help the policeman find the thief among these people? There's definitely something wrong with this guy. He's holding stuff that belongs to different doctors, a dentist, an ophthalmologist, and a surgeon. The thief tried too hard to pretend to be a doctor. Andrew and Rose are getting married. They're looking for the perfect place to celebrate. Their agent shows the guys 4 options. Can you help them choose the best one? Let's take a look at the first option. Some chairs have missing legs. It doesn't seem safe. Snakes are crawling in the flower decoration in the 3rd space. And there's a water puddle around the bathroom in the 4th restaurant. So, Andrew and Rose should pick the second option. Luke invites his best friend Nancy to the restaurant. He's very nervous because he wants to ask her to be his girlfriend. They finish a delicious dessert, and Luke is about to ask the question. Suddenly, Nancy's phone rings. She leaves the table. In a couple of minutes, she returns, and Luke notices the difference in Nancy right away. She has a vampire bite on her neck and sharp teeth. Luke wants to catch the vampire who did it. He finds 4 suspects. Who bit Nancy? These 2 people have red lipstick on their faces. They were just kissing. And the chef is making a strawberry cake. So this guy is a vampire. Alex runs a small shoe repair shop. On Friday night at around 9 p.m., Alex leaves his office and goes to the parking lot. Oh no! Someone scratched his car. Alex questions 3 witnesses to figure out who did it. Sandra says, "I was heading to the coffee shop to get some espresso. I can't sleep. I have to get ready for my finals." Mike says, "I spent all day at the farmer's market. That was awesome. You should check it out too. It's held every Sunday." And Nina says, "My car is over here and it's fine. I don't know who scratched yours because I just arrived." One of them is lying. Can you guess who? Mike. He said the farmer's market was held every Sunday, but it's Friday night. Claire is having an audition today, but first she needs to fix her car to go there. 3 mechanics offer their help, but 2 of them are fake mechanics. Can you spot who exactly? The second guy's watch looks pretty expensive. It's too risky to wear them while working. And the third guy's nails are too long for this job. Claire should pick the first guy. Frank is a private investigator. He receives a task to secretly check this office. Can you spot Frank? Over here. What about this location? Can you find Frank? He's hiding in a trash bin.
Hey, my talented Brightside detectives! Today I have something exciting for you. It'll let your brain do a little workout and have fun at the same time. Let's start, shall we?
Yeah.
Look at this picture very attentively. Can you spot a fake princess? There's a price tag on this princess's tiara, so this girl is most likely not a member of the royalty. There are a lot of delicious products in this picture, but you'll never be able to cheer one of them up. Which one is it? A blueberry, because it's always blue. The next task is pretty tricky. You need to connect all the dots with just 4 straight lines. Let's see how you deal with this challenge. That's how you do it. Easy peasy. Just kidding, I actually failed this task. Now, can you make 4 out of these 3 sticks without breaking them? Yeah, you can. That's how it can be done. This is what I call creative thinking. Can you figure out what's wrong with this picture? This dice is all wrong. It has 7 dots on one of its sides, but it's impossible. The largest number of dots is 6. Look at this image. What word do you see there? A pot, the @ sign, aka aspirand, and a toe. Right, that's potato. The next one, a surfer and a spider web. What could it mean? If you figured out that this puzzle means surf the web, you're very smart. The next tricky riddle for you. You need to guess the brand hidden here. Look at the image attentively. Every small detail counts. The brand hiding here is Pringles. See? P-ring-goals. Clever, huh? The next task for you. Guess the food hidden in this puzzle. A small hint, you can grow this product. Cauliflower. That must be cauliflower. Look at these emojis and guess the word. It's colorful and often appears after the rain. Yep, we're talking about a rainbow here. Okay, now look at this t-shirt. And try to count how many holes it has. Keep in mind that this riddle may be a bit trickier than you think. I hope you didn't only count those nasty ripped holes, because those aren't the only ones this t-shirt has. Look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Those holes are indeed ripped, and 8. Did you get it right? Another tricky puzzle for you. How many watermelons are here? There are 5 watermelons. Look how it works. Nice, right? It's time to put your attention skills to the test. Can you find the odd unicorn here? It's this one. The orange patch of its mane is missing stars. Look at these guys. Can you figure out who's living alone? The man on the right has 2 toothbrushes, so he's probably living with someone else. The man on the left, on the other hand, seems to be living on his own. How can you move just one match to make this equation correct? There are actually 3 ways to solve this puzzle. Either you make it look this way, or it can be 8 minus 3 equals 5. Or you can remove this match and get this. Now this is truly puzzling. 2 plus 2 equals fish. 3 plus 3 equals 8. 7 plus 7 equals a triangle. What does it mean? And how is it possible? The answer lies in the shape of these numbers. 2 and 2 turned this way indeed looks like a fish. 3 and 3 create a pretty 8. And 7 and 7 do look like a triangle, right? Use just 3 of these balls to get 30. A tiny hint, you may need to think outside the box and get creative. Just rotate this 9 and you'll get 6. And then 13 plus 11 plus 6 is indeed 30. Look at these people attentively. One of them sneaked out of the house some time ago and has just returned. Now they're pretending to be sleeping, but we know better, right? So who's the rule breaker? It's this girl with red hair. She's still wearing her shoes and they look wet. Maybe it's raining outside. Now this picture has lots of tiny details and it's going to be challenging to find the odd Grinch here. Can you do it? It's this one. Look, he's missing his fluffy headphones. And now, how about we train your detective skills? Larry's granddad was a wealthy man who loved playing pranks on his relatives. That's why when he passed away, no one could find his will. But one day, 5 years later, Larry was looking through some old papers. Suddenly, his breath caught in his throat. The document he was holding was his granddad's will. It read, "I hid all my money and other valuables at 2 p.m. sharp under my favorite cherry tree, right where its shadow ends. The one who digs it out will be my heir." Larry was going to be rich. He drove to his granddad's villa and found the cherry tree. He waited for an hour till 2 p.m. and started to dig. But try as he might, his efforts didn't pay off. Confused and upset, he had to return home. Why didn't he find anything? It's been several years since the granddad hid his valuables. The tree has grown taller and its shadow has become longer too. James disappeared after going hiking with his friend Matthew. In a couple of days, the police found Matthew tottering along the highway. When they picked the man up, he told the officers James had gotten into a swamp and hadn't managed to get out. Unfortunately, Matthew could do nothing to save him. After listening to the man's story, the police officers arrested him. Why? Just look at this guy, in a white t-shirt, cleanly shaven. How is it possible after several days in the forest? A man living in a small village in the mountains got his goat stolen. He was sure one of his neighbors was behind this crime. The head of the village invited 4 suspects and said, "I'm going to give each of you a magic trick. Bring them to me in the morning. By that time, the thief's stick will have grown by 5 inches." The next day, the head of the village examined the suspects' sticks. He immediately knew who had taken the goat. How? The thief's stick was 5 inches shorter than those of the rest. He had broken it, expecting it to grow longer during the night. 2 best friends, Jack and Tyler, went to a tropical island to surf and have some rest. After an active day at the sea, they bought a large watermelon and ate it. In an hour or so, Tyler felt unwell and lost consciousness. Luckily, he was taken to a hospital in time. The doctors managed to save his life. But both guys ate the same watermelon. Tyler didn't have any kind of allergy. Then how come Jack was perfectly fine? Jack didn't eat watermelon seeds, and Tyler did. Whatever substance poisoned him was in the seeds. Every day, Mark rides his bike to the railway station to get to the college. There are 2 stops near his home. One is a mile away from his house, and the other is 2 miles away in the opposite direction. In the morning, he always gets on the train at the first stop, and in the afternoon, he gets off at the second. Why? Mark's home and the stations are on the hill, and this method allows the guy to ride his bike downhill without any effort. An inventor created a time machine. He packed enough food, water, and other necessities and was ready to test his invention. He set the timer to go 500 years back into the past. He was about to press the start button when a thought came to his mind. He took the time machine and his supplies and went downstairs. Why? This way, he'll avoid a nasty fall. Multi-story buildings weren't common 5 centuries ago,